Hi and welcome to the Booklab. I'm Björn and it's time to look at the most exciting non-fiction releases for December 2023. I've been looking through the publishers, I've been searching the web, and I found 5 books that really got me excited, and 2 of them really stands out as something that I must read. So let's jump right into the list. You have tuned into the Booklab, and this is the place where I bring you the best book recommendations and book reviews every week. So make sure to subscribe if you enjoy the content. And we're going to look at the December releases, and we're going to start with a book called MindStuck, Mastering the Art of Changing Minds, and it's coming out on November 5th. And if you watch this video closely, you might see a bit of a theme when it comes to the dates. And this book is by McQueen. He has spent 2 decades helping organizations and leaders to stay relevant, basically, in an uncertain landscape. And in this book, it talks about influence. Quote, "We are told that we can lead a horse to water, but that we can't make it drink." But what if that was not true? McQueen understands what it takes to change even the most stubborn of minds. When I first started to look at this book, I thought, oh, another persuasion book. We have heard this several times. But as I read more about it, I realized that it's focused on persuading the very stubborn, the people that have a very fixed mindset, which actually piqued my interest. Drawing on the latest discoveries in disciplines ranging from neuroscience to behavioral economics, McQueen suggests that we too often are using 19th and 20th centuries techniques to change the 21st century minds. What we need is an upgrade in our understanding of what it takes to really influence others. This book will show you how to persuade even the most mind-stuck people in our world. And the reason I found this book interesting is because I had an incident at work. I had a new colleague who was not maybe the best fit if I could pick my colleagues myself. And I thought, this book could maybe help me with communicating and persuading and leading this person. So that's why it piqued my interest. And now to one of the highlights of the month for me, at least if I just go by the description. It's a book called A History of Fake Things on the Internet, and it's coming out on December 5th. Yes. The line between what's real and what is digitally fabricated grows ever thinner. And there's no doubt about that fake content has undeniable real-life consequences. A History of Fake Things on the Internet takes the long view on how advances in technology brought us to the point where fake texts, images and video content are nearly indistinguishable from what is authentic and true. And we have seen a lot of this recently if you follow the news. The author behind this book is Walter J. Schreier. Butchering the name, that's theme also from this channel and when I present the books. He promised us to take us to the origin of fake news, conspiracy theories, reports on paranormal activities and other deviations from the truth. And we're promised to get a behind the scenes look from the people behind this kind of fakes and lies and manipulations. We're going to meet the masters of mischief behind all the pranks that going on the internet and more severe issues as well. And this just sounds like one of those books that will be a page turner, and you will just get so many fun stories and great discussion materials for when you meet with your friends. And it's also an interesting topic to me. I actually had on my to read list a book about why people turn to conspiracy theories, and hopefully it taps into some of that psychology as well. This is a book that I absolutely want to read. The third book I have on the list is The Lost Art of Silence, Reconnecting to the Power and Beauty of Quiet, which is released on, you guessed it, December 5th. So what is this book? A unique celebration of silence in art, literature, nature, and spirituality, and an exploration of its ability to bring inner peace, widen our perspectives, and inspire the human spirit in spite of the noise of contemporary life. Silence is something that is habitually overlooked. It's something frowned upon, a person being quiet, spending time with oneself, but it can be a very valuable thing, and it's something that I try to embrace in my own life. So this sounds like an interesting book to be. The description brings my thoughts to another book that I read a while back called Wanderlust, A History of Walking. It also takes a perspective similar to this. It looks at a phenomenon or a thing, walking in that case, and silence in this case, and then looks at it from a cultural perspective, religious perspective, societal perspective, and a historic perspective. And that can be quite fun, but often these books can feel kind of like a novelty in the end. But I have high hopes for this, so this would be something that I'm considering checking out. Number 4 is another tremendous release for me, actually, because I've actually had this book on my to-read list for maybe 7 years now, but the problem is it's been priced at $400 for the last couple of years, so I haven't really been able to justify that investment. But it's Poor Charlie's Almanacs. This is a book that collects the essential teachings, or what you can say, from Charlie Munger, who is a business partner to Warren Buffett and one of the most brilliant investors of all time. I've been trying to do some research about this book because I'm not sure if this is the same as the old version of Poor Charlie's Almanack, or if it's a new shorter edition and hence the more normal price tag. But it looks like it's the same book. Poor Charlie's Almanack draws on Munger's encyclopedic knowledge about business, finance, history, philosophy, physics and ethics, and more besides, to introduce the lattice work of mental models that underpins his rational and rigorous approach to life, learning and decision making. And of course, this information is delivered with his characteristic wit. This guy is one of the people I really look up to. I have taken so many books, recommendations from him. He has a reading list that is well worth checking out, and I found some of the books that I've put on my own great books list, taken directly from his. He also produced the best YouTube video I've ever seen. I think it's Charlie Munger on human misjudgment. That video is about 1 hour and 30 minutes or something, and it's well worth your time.
Fourth, and this is a superpower in error-causing psychological tendency, bias from consistency and commitment tendency, including the tendency to avoid or promptly resolve cognitive dissonance.
So I'm really looking forward to learn more from this guy. He's obsessed with mental models and avoiding misjudgment by studying like human biases and heretics. So this is a book that you should have on your radar. I'm gonna definitely buy this. It's a $1 billion education for $30, and I can't say no to that. Before we jump into the last book, and I'm also going to share some thoughts on some recently released books that I've actually managed to finish and read, so don't miss out on that. But if you like the content on this channel, then like and subscribe. That makes sure that when I put out a new video, it will pop up in your feed. Now let's jump into book number 5, Feel Good Productivity, How to Do More of What Matters to You by Ali Abdaal. We think that productivity is all about hard work, that the road to success is lined with endless frustration and toil. But what if there was another way? Dr. Ali Abdaal, the world's most followed productivity expert, has uncovered an easier and happier path to success. Drawing on decades of psychological research, he has found that the secret to productivity and success isn't grind. It is about feeling good. This sounds like a really nice book to start off the next year, and let's see when it's released. Oh, it's actually released on December 26th, so a perfect book for the new year if you want to have a kind of a reboot. Maybe you worked too much in December, which I've done myself, worked too hard for my own best probably. In this revolutionary book, Ali reveals how science of feel-good productivity can transform your life. He introduces 3 hidden energizers that underpin enjoyable productivity and the 3 blockers we must overcome to beat procrastination. And there are 3 sustainers that prevent burnout and help us achieving lasting fulfillment. I like to read one of these books every year. It gives us some good reminders, and each time I read something from a different author, you get a slightly different angle, and it helps just drive the points home. And there's always new ways to use this technique in my everyday life. That was it from the list, and as usual I want to pick one that I'm most excited about, and I have to say it's a history of fake things on the internet. That just sounds like a blast to read. Other than that, I've been reading... okay, this is gonna break probably. I've been reading a few new releases and I just want to share some initial thoughts of them, and I'll put up the full reviews very soon. First out was Scarcity Brain by Michael Eastern. I'm a big fan of Comfort Crisis. If you haven't checked this book out, you should. There's a review in the description below. He has a follow-up book called Scarcity Brain, and it talks about how our evolutionary psychology messes us over in the modern world. Things that were helpful in the past is not very helpful now and lead to addictive and negative behaviors. Fix your craving mindset and rewire your habits to thrive with enough. The Scarcity Brain, that review will be up in a couple of days. I've also read Morgan House's new book. I used to have the Audible copy of that, so I have it as an audiobook, which is how I consume most of my books actually. And it's same as ever, which looks at what doesn't change. We live in a world of constant change, and everything's changing so fast. That's what it feels like. And if you want to do better projections about the future and plan better, have more long-term strategies, then look at what stays the same. And this book is an absolute gold mine for upgrading your mental models and decision making. I'm going to talk much more of that about that book very soon. But I've also started reading Determined, A Science of Life Without Free Will. So even if you have updated your mindset, you still have no free will to do any decisions. If you listen to Robert M. Sapolsky, and this is probably the most thought-provoking book that I've read this year. I'm super into it. I'm just a few, like 60 pages in, but it's just taking all my brain energy just to process the ideas of this book and the idea of not having free will, because it's a thought that makes me uncomfortable. That's it for this week, and I want to know in the comments, of course, which one of these books you would like to pick up and why, because I'm always interested in hearing from you. I'm back in a few days with a book review of Scarcity Brain, and until then, happy reading. Björn out. Cheers.